So a few months ago, I made a video talking about whether or not Cyberpunk Orion should return to Night City or even if it will return to Night City. But of course at the time it was all just funny games, right? Speculation, you know how it goes. But yesterday CD Projekt Red was at a sort of conference, video game conference for developers, and with them was Mike Pondsmith. And if you don't know who Mike Pondsmith is, he's the creator of this whole Cyberpunk universe, so naturally he's just involved with everything Cyberpunk related. He was involved a lot with the first game, but he did admit this time around he hasn't been as involved just yet. So I'm assuming this was in an interview that they had at the conference, and he says, and I quote, "I spent a lot of time talking to one of the environment guys, and he was explaining how the new place in Orion, because there's another city we visit, I'm not telling you any more than that, but there's another city we visit, and Night City is still there, but I remember looking at it and going, yeah, I understand the feel you're going for this, and this really does work, and it doesn't feel like Blade Runner, it feels more like Chicago gone wrong." So with this, I would say we have two things confirmed, right? Night City still does exist, and I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be in the first game. We don't know if it's gonna be the main city, but it's most likely gonna be there. And the second thing being that we have another city kind of inspired by Chicago. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a more futuristic version of Chicago, right? Chicago in 2077. Similar to how Night City is just LA, but in the year 2077. So yeah, this is interesting because for a while now, I think people who've been, keeping up with Cyberpunk and who are interested in the games have been kind of wondering whether or not we're going to return to Night City, or if we're just going to move on from V, the character V, and Night City as a whole. And for me, it's always been tough because I feel like Night City is kind of tied to the lore of Cyberpunk and you can't just abandon it. That, and also the fact that, I always say Cyberpunk 2077 was a test run for what the future of this series could be. The game didn't come out as it was supposed to be, but over time they added everything, fixed all the bugs and glitches. Now the game is what it should have been when it first came out. And now that they did that, going to the next game, they kind of have that blueprint, right? Everything that they might want to put in the next game, all things they might want to test for the next game, they have that with Cyberpunk 2077. So I've always thought that maybe they should just expand and enhance on Night City, add a new district, kind of how they did with Dogtown and Phantom Liberty. Add some new cars, new cyberware, of course, all that, right? All that comes with a new game, but just keep Night City because you can't just leave it alone. But then again, that might just be kind of repetitive because we've already played a whole game in Night City, so maybe they should move on to a new one. But it seems they might have found a sort of middle ground, having Night City still there, but also having this new city that is going to be introduced in the next game. I guess it is always possible that we have Night City and we're also able to just kind of drive into another city, but that would be a lot. It's possible because we don't know if this is Chicago, right? If it was Chicago, there'd be like no way for you to do that because you'd have to be flying from LA essentially to Chicago, but we don't know if this city is going to be Chicago or if it's just Chicago inspired. Also, what I've been thinking what they could do is you start off the game in Night City, maybe the first few hours of the prologue of the game is in Night City, and for some reason you have to leave and you just go to this new city. Or maybe it's the opposite, you start off in this new city and you go back to Night City for whatever reason. Honestly, I think either way would work and would probably be for the best because like I said, I don't think they should abandon Night City because again, I feel like it's just tethered to the Cyberpunk universe. Of course, there's more than just Night City, but I feel like the way it's been set up and how we've been introduced to it, that it's like a main character in the universe, if that makes sense. I've always said Night City is like a character and it's not just a city. It has so much to it. But yeah, there's that, and then there's another thing I kind of want to just talk about a little bit. Mike Pondsmith again says, and I quote, "Last week I was wandering around talking to different departments and seeing what they had." Another quote in this quote, "Oh look, this is new cyberware. What do you think? Oh yeah, that's pretty good. That works here." So it seems like they actually got into the concepts and everything of Cyberpunk Orion, and it's not just early stages, really early stages of development anymore. And that's good because everybody's focused on The Witcher 4, and of course that's their, I guess, main game, CD Projekt Red's main game right now because it is the next game that's supposed to come out by them. But it's good to hear that Cyberpunk Orion is still a main focus for them because, they did open a new studio after all for Cyberpunk Orion specifically. So yeah, it's good to hear that it's going on smoothly and things seem to be going well. And with that being said, hopefully this game does come out by like 2029, 2030. 29 honestly might be kind of early. 2030, between 2030 and 2032, I would say. Even 2032 is like kind of late, man. But who knows? This game is a pretty big game. There's a lot to it. And we can't rush them, right? They got to take the time that they need to make sure this game comes out as intended. We don't want to have another Cyberpunk 2077 situation. We all love the game now, but when it first came out, for so many people, it was just not playable. But yeah, just a short little video, a little update on Cyberpunk Orion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Should we return to Night City and just stay there, or do you want to move to a new city, leave Night City in the past? And as always, like the video if you like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.